Hello everyone, Clara the Geek here, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're doing another Doctor Who ranking video. So, recently, Revolution of the Daleks aired, like a few days ago, and Ryan and Graham both left. So, I decided to rank all of the modern companion exit scenes. Now, this list was really difficult to do. One, it was quite hard just to find out what counted as the companion exits, because some companions, notably Miss Clara Oswald, kept coming back and leaving, So, I mean, especially for Clara, it was very difficult to pinpoint what do you class as the definitive exit. So that's hard enough as well. And two, ranking them, it's so hard because I don't think any of them are really terrible, but you know, I don't really hate any of them. I think they're all great, but some of them I prefer than others. So, with that out of the way, let's get to it. And this is just the modern series, so not the classic series because it's dead inconsistent in Classic Who. But Modern Who, let's go. This is going to be very controversial here, but at last place is Rosie's exit in Doomsday. Now, this is the only exit that I'm not a big fan of. I mean, the Series 2 finale, the first part, Army of Ghosts, is great. But Doomsday really lets it down, and this is one of the main reasons as to why. The exit is just so drawn out. Like, obviously, it was the first exit of the revival, so it shouldn't have been so quick and sudden. But it doesn't need to take up about 15 minutes of the episode. It's so long and drawn out on, the stuff on the beach. It doesn't need to be that long. Also, I hate the Doctor and Rose romance stuff, and I don't like the Doctor being in a relationship, full stop. So, when the Doctor's like, is it my last chance to say it? Rose Tyler. It just, no. You know he was going to say I love you, but just don't, please. But yeah, this one just sort of failed to connect with me. In 7th place, we have the most recent exit with Graham and Ryan in Revolution of the Daleks. Now, I don't dislike this exit. I think it's quite refreshing to have a companion choose to leave on their own free will. Ryan spent 10 months on Earth. Like, it was hinted that he maybe didn't want to travel in Series 12. Like, at the end of Can You Hear Me, he was like, how long is this going to last? And he's had 10 months on Earth when the Doctor was in prison. So, it does make sense, I feel. And, Graham sort of wanting to leave with him, because you can tell that Graham would want to travel more, but he's presented with this dilemma of, do I travel or do I watch my grandson grow up? And, you wouldn't want to miss that. You want to spend the final years of your life with your loved one. And I thought that was quite a nice sort of undertone to it. But I think this exit could have been a bit better. It was touching, it was nice, but there was just something missing from it. I'm not sure what, but I think it could have been a lot more. But it was still quite a nice exit. I wish I could have put this one higher, but at number 6 is Nardol's exit in The Doctor Falls. Now, I think this is a great sort of subtle exit. He has to take care of the people on the farm while the Doctor blows up all the Cybermen. And it's a brilliant line, when the Doctor says, somebody has to blow up a load of silly tin men and the other has to protect a lot of scared children. Now, the question is, which one of us is stronger? I always interpret that as sort of, the Doctor knows that Nardole is stronger in sort of taking care of people and being sort of kinder, I suppose. And because Nardole looked after the Doctor after River Song died and stuff like that. So he knows that Nardole is the better one for the job. And it's quite nice when you think about it like that. I just find it really sad that, Nardole just, he protects his children, but he never knows that the Doctor and Bill were successful. He'll never know, and that is really tragic. Also, it's got the nostalgia factor. Series 10 was my first series, so yeah. At number 5 is Martha in Last of the Time Lords. Now, this is one of the few times in the modern series where a companion chooses to leave on their own free will, and it's done a lot better here than it is with Ryan and Graham in Revolution, because it just feels a bit more rewarding, and it just feels it has a lot more impact. Not because it's necessarily sad, but it's sort of Martha getting her comeuppance, you know, because in Series 3, Martha was just treated horribly by the Doctor. You know, the Doctor took her for granted. He was getting over Rose, and he was missing Rose. Like, oh, imagine if Rose was here, she'd know what to do. Sorry for my terrible impression, but you got that a lot, and Martha just kind of got sort of shoved under the rug, and it was, you know, the Doctor just ignored her and took her for granted. So to finally see her standing up to him and saying, look, I'm better than this, you know, this isn't for me, I'm going to walk away, it's quite rewarding, and, you know, it's like, yeah, you go, yes, you tell him, Martha, it's great. It's obviously, like, less sort of dramatic and less sort of, you know, sad and emotional, so that's why it's lower down on the list, but by no means is it a bad exit. It's great. It's just that the other ones are a lot better, personally. And number 4, I've got the exit of Bill Potts in The Doctor Falls. Now, again, a bit like Nardol's, this was really sort of tragic. She got turned into a Cyberman in the first half, and, you know, the stuff with her as the Cyberman throughout the episode was just, it was really, like, heartbreaking to watch, you know, sort of like, if I have to live like this now, I don't want to live like sort of, you know, it was sort of the cyber conditioning was like affecting it. It was horrible. It was really sad to watch. Now, the whole thing with her getting, you know, sort of resurrected and she can travel the universe with Heather, people do take issue with, and yes, it is an issue, but there's a few things for me which can sort of save it for me, so that's why I don't mind it as much. First of all, I always interpret that scene as Bill becoming one of the glass people. Do you remember in Twice Upon a Time, in the following story, it's revealed that, you know, like, everybody who dies sort of becomes one of the glass people, like their testimony, you know, and that's what I always interpreted that scene as. So I felt like when the Cyberman fell over, that was sort of Bill dying. I don't know, maybe I'm interpreting that wrong, but that's how I always used to look at it. Secondly, it is quite a nice sort of happy ending, like a fairy tale, which doesn't really undo, for me, it doesn't really undo a lot from the story. And 3, nostalgia, you know, Bill's my first proper companion, so, you know, I have a lot of nostalgia for it, so it's a nice sort of happy ending, but I do see the issue with it. Prepare yourselves for a bit of a shock here, but at number 3, it's Clara in Face the Raven. Now, as I said, Clara had multiple exits, and she came back after this for an episode, but Face the Raven is the one I'm trying to go for because she did die. She just died. This is where she died. And it's really well done. You know, thinking she was the light of the Doctor, she could outsmart the situation, ended up backfiring, so she had to sacrifice herself. And it was very much in keeping with her character, and it was really well done. And Capaldi's reaction to it was just, he gets so angry, and it's just incredible performance from him. Now, at this point in the show, I feel like Clara had overstayed her welcome. She'd been there for since Series 7, and this is Series 9, and I don't like her, and yet I still cared. That is really impressive, I've got to say. Now, this could have been higher, but what sort of holds it back is Hellbent just devaluing it. Like, the Doctor going back, taking her out of time, basically saving her from death. It just undercuts it all, you know. Like, this story, a companion dies, and then Heaven Sent was about the Doctor grieving and getting over it. Hellbent just undoes that. And on my Hellbent review, somebody commented saying something along the lines of, you know, if this ending in Face the Raven had stuck, it would have made Clara's, you know, annoying personality sort of intentional. But then Hellbent just sort of goes, no, you have to like her. And that's a really good point, and I do agree with it. You know, it could have worked. Now, this exit was great and could have been better if what happened later didn't undo it. At number 2, we have Amy Rory's departure in The Angels Take Manhattan. Now, this story is rife with issues. There's plenty of plot holes and daft moments, but this scene almost is able to salvage it. It's like you think Amy and Rory are safe from the Angels in New York, and then they visit this graveyard, and there's this gravestone which has their name on it, and then Rory all of a sudden just disappears by blinking because of the Angels, and then, you know, the Doctor trying to convince Amy to not go. It's heartbreaking, and considering they are technically a family, it really does tug on the heartstrings. I think the fact that they're taken by the Angels also shows how much of a threat they are, because they've taken somebody that we care about. It's like if a Dalek kills a companion, or a Cyberman does or whatever, you know. It shows the threat of that villain. The Doctor's reaction is incredible, and he's just devastated, and Matt Smith's performance is fantastic, and the sort of epilogue, you know, like sort of the last page scene at the end is beautiful. But at number 1 is Donna's exit in Journey's End. This scene is just, it's perfect. So just a little recap. Donna, you know, it was like the Doctor Donna stuff. Donna had part of the Doctor's mind, you know, a Time Lord mind in a human body. It can't cope, so the Doctor has to wipe her memory of all of her travels, and it's heartbreaking, you know, because this character, she's grown so much, and, you know, she's learnt to be more, you know, she started off as a loudmouth and, you know, very mouthy and shouty, but then developed into somebody, you know, who was brave and, you know, very kind and caring. And it's just heartbreaking to, you know, see it all go. But it's not in an unsatisfying way. It's done really emotionally. The music is phenomenal. The performances are brilliant. And what really gets me every time is when they go back to Earth and Wilf, you know, Donna's granddad, is his reaction to it is just, oh my God, it breaks me. It breaks my soul, and it's just such a heartbreaking goodbye. Donna is my favourite New Who companion, personally, and this scene just has it all, you know. She's got the funny stuff near the beginning, you've got the emotional stuff, you've got the acting, you've got the music, you've got the writing. It's just perfection, and the best companion exit for me.